Okay. Now, as we jump into pressures, I think it's really important, again, that we go back and review what does it mean to bring pressure. I think you have to decide kind of structurally and philosophically, are you going to be a pressure team or not? We are not. We do not believe in bringing overload pressures. We believe in playing sound defense, and we feel like too much pressure makes you predictable and gives up big plays. Now, pressure should be applied appropriately when you have the opportunity to. So does that mean we won't blitz? Of course not. We'll play games. We'll move people. We'll send pressure, but it needs to be purposeful. Okay, so here's a sample scouting report on a team that we played last year. And what you're going to see here is this is us, in my opinion, doing our homework. Okay, if they're in trips, okay, we're breaking down their strength indicator. We're breaking down the percentage of the time that they're in this. This team ran, okay, I want to kind of clearly show you, they were in this 54 times. 54 times we got open trips. That made up 38% of their offense up to that point that we had seen this team on film. In that set, they ran the ball 29% of the time and threw it 71%. Now down here is all of our calls. Stack, strong, green, yellow poach would be our trips adjustment. These are our answers down here, okay? These are the answers that we prefer to be in against this set. But I think the real data is circled up here in red. It's knowing that 38%, that's almost obviously 40% of the time that you see this team come out on offense, they're in open trips. So that's going to tell us as a coaching staff, man, we better have our kids dialed on their trips checks because we're going to see it a lot. And when they get into trips, they're going to throw the ball 70% of the time. So our kids are they're getting this information drilled into their head repeatedly, okay? And so the answer becomes, all right, coach, what set are they in? Okay, so I tell the kids, go out there, scout team, getting open trips. As soon as that happens, I should hear safeties and linebackers going, hey, check pass. Hey, what's my trips check? Check. I should hear those words coming out. I should have some familiarity that we're going to be receiving a lot of pass. So we're going to want to put ourselves in a position where we can bring a fair amount of pressure. Okay, we're going to want to be able to get after them. We're going to have to decide, how do we want to bring that pressure? Okay, for instance, I look out there and I see this team 71% pass, and this is what they are. I know I can bring pressure from the boundary side. I know I can do it. I know I can get away with it as long as my corner holds up. If I'm concerned my corner won't hold up, then perhaps I'm going to have to bring pressure from the strong side. All of those pressure conversations, do I bring pressure? Do I play coverage? They're all going to come from understanding and having a familiarity of what is the defense vulnerable to and what is the offense trying to accomplish, okay? So you can see this is something our staff's going to do every single week. They're going to know in this set, they saw inside zone 6 times, counter 5 times, speed option twice, veer once, so on, so forth. Okay, over here, we're talking about what are the passes we're seeing. Okay, those are the concepts that are getting thrown. And again, I think the more that you understand that data, all right, for instance, look right here, we're getting ISO 50% of the time when they line up in Auburn. 50% of the time. So how do I know how much to prep for that? Well, it's only 18% of their offense. That's not huge. Over here, Bama, which is the trips version of this, well, they're only in it 13% of the time. Okay, what do they do out of it? They run the ball 100% of the time. And here's what runs they have in their arsenal. Well, if I see this set, I should pretty much know as soon as I see this, I'm getting ISO or split zone. That's pretty much what I'm going to face is ISO and split zone. So if I'm going to bring pressure, when I see this set, the pressure should be a run pressure designed specifically to attack zone-based runs. To me, now you're getting into the philosophical approach of how do you actually game plan for a very specific opponent. I think those things are important. And obviously you would go through and you look at this set. Okay, this is a real scouting report. These guys ran this one time. It's 1% of their offense. Okay, it's statistically irrelevant. If they get in it, we'll have a coverage, we'll have a front, we'll play ball. Okay, if we see it 4 or 5 times, then we'll know that they've switched things up on us, and that's something that they're sort of prioritizing that week. Now, let's say we get a situation where we want to bring some sort of exotic pressure inside our game plan. If we feel like we have to bring exotic pressure, we will give it a one-word name and we will have a specific reason for why we're bringing it. This is an actual exotic from one of our games a couple years ago. Here's another example. These guys were huge at running fly sweep. We wanted fly sweep dead. Okay, we did not want them to be able to run it. So our answer was we were going to pinch both ends in the B gaps and slant strong. Now my will doesn't really have a gap. As soon as they brought fly motion, we triggered off the edge and set the C gap, ran the will and the safety down the hump, and we rolled the cover 3 behind it. We just called that Hawks. Okay. The reason that we wanted an exotic name, or excuse me, a one-word name for the exotics, is if we wanted to be able to bring pressure to destroy a specific play, then we would just come up with a word, and that word would trigger all of our kids. Okay. We felt like that was the most expeditious way to make sure that we had ready-made answers for these guys. All right.